When I think of beat-em-ups, I immediately picture brief, casual experiences that benefit from co-op and are best played in short bursts. I don't dislike the genre, but it's far from my preferred avenue of gameplay-focused experiences. All this to say that I wasn't actually captivated by the incoming launch of Absolum, even if it's a roguelite at its core. To be honest, I just didn't believe a melding of those two genres can work effectively, leading me to dismiss the title. That was until it launched. With an overwhelmingly positive reception in Absilum's wake, my curiosity grew tenfold. Consequently, I tried it out and completely understood why there was such a buzz around this release, even if not all of it lands smoothly. Absolum takes place in the world of Talam, which is suffering from a conflict caused by a magical cataclysm initiated by wizards. Now, the Sun King Azra has enslaved those wizards into his Crimson Order, conquering several lands and establishing a new status quo. However, a group of rebels led by the enchantress Uchwai intends to defy his rule, which forms the backbone of the story. Unfortunately, while there's a strong foundation supported by an excellent presentation and full voice acting across characters and environments, the plot itself doesn't communicate compellingly. It's just that Azra's reign is treated too passively by the cast, which clashes with the supposed severity of the situation. There's plenty of intrigue in the setting, especially regarding the morality of each faction, and Uchwai unveils a good amount of context through interactables, but this often makes her feel more like an exposition machine rather than a character. Overall, the narrative feels unceremonious and stiff in execution, which is a shame because it's clear a great deal of effort went into the world building. An animated series was even confirmed before the game's release, showing the team's confident in this setting. I'm interested in seeing the story explored in that format since it's likely far better than what you get in this game's structure. Here, the playable cast may also get more to work with, since in the game they only receive brief hints of backstory and personality that lack consistency. Thankfully, Absolum thrives in its relatively unique gameplay identity where its beat-em-up foundations are profoundly showcased. Each of the 4 playable characters feel distinct in terms of combo strings and special attacks. Meanwhile, the embedded RPG systems bring in the roguelike elements, sometimes to the game's benefit, other times to its detriment. You can absolutely finish a run early if you're skilled enough, but the meta progression can feel a bit heavy-handed. Of the several currencies you collect, one allows for unlocking significant stat increases and starting boons that make a huge difference across runs. Because of this, your success isn't only tied to personal skill, but also to the stat gains between attempts. Now, that reliance can actually undercut the satisfaction of skill-based growth. Personally, this design choice doesn't really bother me much, it's just something I noticed while playing. I actually enjoyed how far the roguelike implementations go, as they don't just unlock weapons or cosmetics for future runs. All in all, it's refreshing to see a transparent RPG-like structure of continually expanding perks. Still, it won't appeal to everyone. I also like the inclusion of environmental hazards and secret paths, which makes exploration just as important as mastering combat. Falling into a trap can easily ruin a run, so there's always tension. Feeding into the rhythm of risk and reward, the combat in Absolum is surprisingly sharp and encourages constant, aggressive play. Defense is often just offense in another form. Dodging into attacks at the right time lets you deflect and stagger enemies, creating openings for counterattacks. Sidestepping is safer but less rewarding, while directly clashing with attacks is riskier but can yield the best results. Grabbing opponents also builds on this aggressive flow, where you simply walk into them when they're open. Honestly, this mechanic is the only one that didn't really click for me, as it feels kind of awkward in practice, whether intentional or not. Okay, but returning to the roguelite cycle, Absolum offers unlockable specials for each character and elemental upgrades both tied to separate currencies. These options, along with branching paths and side quests, keep each run feeling pretty unique. Even when repetition sets in, especially when re-challenging bosses, their multi-phase designs remain engaging and well thought out. However, mid-run upgrades can feel a little hit or miss. Many are minor buffs or situational effects that don't impact your playstyle too much. The best ones, which were new moves and combo extensions, are called inspirations, and they're disappointingly rare. Their temporary nature might turn players off, and I somewhat agree. The game already has enough systems in play that these power-ups didn't need to be fleeting, though that does make finding them all the more satisfying. It's a double-edged design choice that adds a bit of flavor even as it frustrates. Two other standout areas are Absilum's presentation and soundtrack. The hand-drawn fantasy art is gorgeous, and the music, composed by Yuka Kitamura, Gareth Coker, and Mick Gordon, is phenomenal across the board. It's one of the best scores I've heard this year and will likely stay memorable for a long time. The inclusion of local and online co-op along with the assist mode adds value for both accessibility and replayability. I didn't actually test out these features personally, but they seem well implemented and promising for long-term play. Absolum is a confident roguelite that puts Dotemu's beat-em-up expertise on full display in a unique, replay-heavy format. Its combat systems, stellar soundtrack, and character-driven progression form a solid multi-genre experience. The story doesn't hit as hard as it should, and the progression balance may divide some players, but for those who connect with its approach, Absolum delivers an addictive loop worth returning to again and again. Noisy Pixel is giving Absolum an 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching. This video is brought to you by our supporters on Patreon. Noisy Pixel is run by a group of gamers providing independent gaming coverage through news, reviews, previews, and more. Check out our Patreon to help support our continued growth, and subscribe to keep up with all our future content.
Noisy Pixel.